Picture this: a simple wine cabinet, carved from old wood, sealed with ancient Hebrew inscriptions that hint at a binding ritual from the old country. Legend has it this box was crafted to trap a Dybbuk, a type of restless, malevolent spirit from Jewish folklore, the kind that clings to the living like a shadow in the noonday sun. The tale starts in the early 2000s when a Holocaust survivor from Poland sold it, warning the buyer of its dark history. She claimed it held a Dybbuk that tormented her family, causing nightmares, strange illnesses, and objects flying through the air like they had a mind of their own. The new owner, a furniture restorer, laughed it off as old wives' tales. That is, until the nightmares began. Visceral visions of an old hag with glowing eyes scratching at his soul began to haunt him night after night. That is the Dybbuk Box, and this is Ham Hock Horror, and these are the 6 most cursed items that still exist today. As the box changed hands, the curse seemed to grow stronger. One owner reported his shop's bulbs exploding in unison, while another suffered a stroke the day after opening it, his face contorted in terror, as if he'd seen the devil himself. Skeptics chalk it up to coincidence or mass hysteria, pointing to the box's ordinary appearance and lack of physical evidence. But those who've owned it, like the man who bought it on eBay thinking it a bargain, swear the air around it grows cold and that whispers in an unknown tongue fill the room at midnight. Even paranormal investigators, hardened men who faced spirits and demons, report electronic malfunctions and a sense of dread that clings long after they've left. The box now sits in a museum locked away. But reports of strange occurrences persist. Visitors fainting. Cameras failing. It was as if this entity remains there of its own free will, biding its time, maturing, growing, learning. The curse's grip extends beyond the physical, seeping into the minds of those who dare to possess it. One keeper described horrific dreams where the spirit revealed secrets from the past. Another claimed his hair fell out in clumps, his skin breaking out in sores that doctors couldn't explain, while some dismiss it as psychosomatic, driven by the power of suggestion. Others, including religious leaders who've examined it, warn of its genuine evil, a remnant of old-world malevolence that defies rational explanation. The Dybbuk feeds on fear, growing stronger with each disbeliever it claims. The box has been blamed for fires, accidents, and broken relationships, leaving a trail of ruin in its wake. Yet, it continues to draw the curious like flies to honey, or rather, like sheep to slaughter. In the quiet hours, when the wind howls like a tormented soul, one wonders if the Dybbuk is truly trapped or merely waiting. The box's current guardian reports occasional knocks from inside, rhythmic and insistent, as if something scratches to get out. Skeptics scoff, attributing it to settling wood or tricks of the ear. But those who've heard it speak of a chill that pierces to the bone, a sense that the veil between worlds thins. As we leave this tale, the mystery lingers, whispering that perhaps the box's curse is not in the spirit alone, but in the human curiosity that keeps opening doors that might best be left shut. We now turn our attention to a chair that has sat in silence for centuries, but whose curse echoes through the ages. The Busby's Stoop chair, a seat no man dares occupy. Legend has it this ordinary wooden chair, hanging in a pub in Yorkshire, England, was crafted by a forger and murderer named Thomas Busby in the 1700s. On his way to the gallows for killing his father-in-law, Busby cursed the chair, vowing that anyone who sat in it would meet a gruesome end. The locals laughed at the ravings of a condemned man, but soon the deaths began. Soldiers, travelers, even the pub's cleaners, all who dared rest in it met untimely fates, from accidents to sudden illnesses, as if the chair itself pulled strings from the beyond. One man, a chimney sweep, sat in it for a bet and was found dead the next morning. During World War II, airmen from a nearby base treated it as a dare. None returned from their missions, their planes vanishing into the night sky like ghosts. Skeptics call it coincidence, a string of bad luck amplified by superstition, but pub owners who tried to remove it reported strange happenings. Cold drafts, whispers, and shadows that moved of their own accord. Even experts from museums drawn by the tale felt an unease, as if the chair watched them with invisible eyes. The deaths continued into modern times. A mechanic dropped dead after sitting in it, and a delivery man crashed his van hours after making contact. The pub owner, fearing for his business and soul, hung the chair high on the wall, out of reach, but some say the curse lingers, waiting for the bold, or the foolish, to pull it down. While some point to psychological suggestion, where belief in the curse causes stress leading to accidents, those who felt its chill swear it's more Busby spirit-bound to the wood exacting his revenge from the grave. The chair hangs there still, a silent sentinel. Its wood dark with age, and perhaps something darker. As the tales spread, the chair became a dark attraction, drawing the curious from far and wide, but none dare sit. One visitor, a historian, reported a voice in his ear as he studied it, whispering the word, "Mine," sending him fleeing into the night. Skeptics laugh, attributing it to wind or imagination, but with over 60 records of death linked to the chair, reality paints a different picture. One defying common sense and splattered with doom. The Busby's Stoop chair stands as a warning that some objects carry the weight of evil deeds, their curses enduring long after the perpetrator's dust is settled. As we move on, the air grows thicker with dread, for our next relic is a doll that's more than a plaything. Robert the doll, a toy that watches with eyes that seem to follow, harboring a spirit that refuses to be child's play. Crafted in the early 1900s for a boy named Robert Eugene Otto in Key West, Florida. This sailor-suited doll was said to be made by a voodoo practicing servant as revenge for mistreatment. From the moment young Gene received it, strange things happened. Toys moved on their own, giggles echoed in empty rooms, and Gene would blame Robert for mischief, his face pale with fear. As Gene grew, the doll remained his constant companion, sitting in the window staring out at passers-by who swore its expression changed from innocent to malevolent. Neighbors reported seeing the doll move between windows when the family was away, its head turning to watch them. Gene, even as an adult, kept Robert in the attic, but servants quit after hearing footsteps and laughter from above. Skeptics say it's all tall tales, amplified by the doll's creepy straw-filled body and painted features, but the many who've crossed Robert tell a different story. Misfortune follows, from accidents to illnesses, as if the doll holds a grudge. One photographer, sent to capture Robert's image, claimed his camera malfunctioned until he asked the doll for permission. Only then did it work, but the photos showed a blurred figure, as if the doll shifted. Visitors to the museum where Robert now resides report similar woes. Cars breaking down, flights canceled, even divorces after mocking him. While rationalists attribute it to suggestion, where belief in the curse creates self-fulfilling prophecy, the doll's history of attacks suggests otherwise. Letters of apology pour in from those who've offended him, begging for relief from bad luck. The curse's reach extends beyond the physical, with dreams of Robert coming to life, his button eyes gleaming with malice. One curator spoke of the doll's room feeling colder and shadows lengthening unnaturally. Sure, some skeptics scoff, but the stack of apology letters, some stained with tears, tells of lives appended. The mystery clings like cobwebs, leaving us to wonder if toys can harbor souls, or if some curses truly were sewn into the fabric itself. But now before us lies a gem that's more than mere stone. It's the Black Prince's ruby, bearer of a blood-red curse that has felled kings and warriors alike. Set in England's imperial state crown, this massive uncut spinel has a history drenched in blood. starting with the Sultan of Granada in the 1300s, murdered by Pedro the Cruel, who then claimed the gem. Pedro gifted it to the Black Prince, Edward of Woodstock, after a battle. But Edward died young of a mysterious illness, his victory tainted. The ruby passed to Henry V, who wore it at Agincourt, nearly losing his head to a French axe. The gem saved him from an easy death, but he died soon after from dysentery. Richard III wore it at Bosworth, falling in battle, his crown rolling under a bush. Henry VII claimed it, but his line ended in turmoil. Skeptics say it's coincidence, as wars and disease were all too common in medieval times. But how many points on a graph does one need to draw a line? One after another, dot after dot. The ruby's trail of royalty suggests a thirst for blood, as if the gem feeds on power's downfall. During the English Civil War, Oliver Cromwell scorned the crown jewels, but the ruby survived, returning to haunt monarchs. Queen Victoria had it reset, but her reign saw famines and rebellions. In 1911, a suffragette attacked the crown case, but the gem remained unscathed. The curse's shadow lengthened in modern times, with jewelers falling ill after handling it, and guards reporting cold spots near the crown. The Black Prince's ruby gleams in the Tower of London, a scarlet sentinel, its mystery enduring like the blood it has spilled. The Basano Vase, a silver vessel from 15th century Italy, said to contain death itself. Legend tells of a young bride who received it on her wedding night, only to be found dead the next morning, clutching the vase with a note inside reading, "Beware, this vase brings death." Her family, ignoring the warning, passed it on, and death followed like a faithful hound. Brother, uncle, friend, each dying mysteriously after possessing it. The vase was buried, but unearthed centuries later by farmers who died soon after, their crops withering as if poisoned. It changed hands through antique dealers, each meeting untimely ends via car accidents, sudden illnesses, and other means. It was as if the vase whispered fatal secrets. Skeptics call it folklore, a string of coincidences embellished over time, but the vase's disappearance in the 1980s, after a museum curator died of a rare disease, adds to the enigma, as if it vanished to claim more victims. One pharmacist who owned it in the 1980s tried to sell it, but buyers backed out after hearing the curse. He died of a heart attack days later. The police, finding no buyer, threw it out a window, but it landed unbroken, as if defying destruction. Those who've seen the vase describe an unnatural chill, a sense that something watches from within. The Basano Vase's curse persists in whispers, its location unknown, perhaps reburied or hidden in a thrift shop, just waiting for the next fool to claim it. So keep your eyes peeled, for it may be closer than you think. We turn now to another case of crystallized doom, the Delhi Purple Sapphire, a gem with a trail of ruin leading from the temples of India to the museums of England. The sapphire, looted from the Temple of Indra during the Indian Mutiny of 1857, carries a curse as deep as its violet hue. Colonel W. Ferris, the British officer who took it, saw his family fortune crumble, his health fail, and his son pass away while he was still young. The gem passed to friends, each meeting financial ruin and tragedy, as if Indra's wrath followed it across the seas. A scientist who studied it in the early 1900s lost his wealth and health, his family plagued by illness, until he donated it to London's Natural History Museum, where it arrived with a note warning of its deadly power. Initially, the museum staff laughed at the superstition, but those laughs soon turned to tears. A curator suddenly fell ill, and another dropped dead without notice. The gem was locked away, but when retrieved for display, the carrier was struck by a violent storm, nearly dying of infection. Those who've handled it report a heavy dread, a sense that the sapphire pulses with malice, its purple depths hiding something alive. During World War II, the museum considered selling it for funds, but the buyer backed out after nightmares of Indian gods demanding its return. The curse's grip seemed to loosen when the gem was sealed, but recent handlers report odd occurrences, such as equipment failures and sudden chills. Self-described rational minds point to psychological effects, the power of suggestion turning coincidence to curse. But the Sapphire's list of ruined lives, from soldiers to scholars, suggests a vengeance that transcends oceans. The Delhi purple sapphire sits in the museum as a violet enigma, its mystery enduring to this very day. Those are 6 of the most cursed items that still exist today, but they are far from the only surviving unholy relics of our past. If you would like to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. And with that, I bid you a good night, and may your dreams be uneventful.